Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Welcome to the Astrology Weekly Podcast.
Morgan wants to know, what's this about the 15-year pattern ending for cardinal signs? So this is regarding the transition of Pluto. Pluto in astrology is one of the slower moving planets compared to some of the other planets. As an example, the moon. I know the moon isn't a planet in astronomy, but in astrology, the moon is a planet. And it's the ruler of zodiac sign Cancer. In astrology, Cancer, the moon in astronomy and in astrology spins really fast at a fast rate. In fact, the moon spends thank you. Thank you, Waterwind 24. That looked very Texas. Yeehaw! I'm right on at home with this. Thank you for my gift. I appreciate it. The moon spins really fast. Pluto on the other end does not spin fast at all. Pluto can be in a specific zodiac sign for a long time. And I believe on average, up to 19 years, it can stay in the same zodiac placement. The moon on the other end, which is a ruler of Cancer, moves between signs literally every couple of days. So if you're Cancer, you're experiencing Aries energy today, tomorrow, a little bit of Aries energy, and then the next day you moved on to Taurus. And so if you find your Cancers to be to be fluctuating often with their mood and their vibration, their energies, that's the reason why. So Pluto is a planet of, Morgan is a Cancer. Well, look at that, Morgan. Today's your day. I'm telling you all these things that you didn't ask for, but that are related to you. So the reason why this is significant, Morgan, is that unlike your ruling planet, other people who are ruled by Pluto is generally a home with Scorpio. Other people generally get to have their home sign stay in one position for a very, very long time. And it's kind of like the same lesson, but at a specific intensity. And by the way, this is why Scorpio is so stubborn. Like, a lot of you guys experience them to be stuck in their ways or stubborn. Pluto's influence is pretty long lasting. Okay. And when I say long lasting, I mean that it literally shapes an entire generation. This is why in astrology, when you're reading your natal chart, you would notice that folks from a specific generation all share the same Pluto. Like all the millennials, I'm a millennial, all the millennials more or less share the same Pluto, depending on where the cutoff is. The Gen Zs share the same Pluto. The Alphas share the same Plutos. All the millennials, by the way, are ruled by Scorpio energy. We've experienced the most death out of all the other generations and the most rebirth. And it's not because we lived through the war, is we experienced various deaths. You know, people who lived through World War I experienced that sort of death, but we experienced the death of culture on so many different levels, like Y2K, the internet, social media, the actual 9/11, you name it. If you want to talk about trauma, millennials are the most traumatized generation because of Pluto and Scorpio. So Pluto shapes culture. It shapes the world. It shapes society. It doesn't just shape your individual transformation, but it is a global transformation that takes place when Pluto comes into a zodiac sign. When you have it in the zodiac sign of Aquarius, the world is about to change in ways that people haven't even begun to really comprehend. Oh, you're also a millennial, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm so grateful that us millennials have a don't give a shit attitude. And that's probably why we're not as stressed as Gen Zs. Gen Zs care more. They're a lot more stressed because life is actually worse for Gen Zs than it was for us when we're at their age. I just watched a video about how they're aging so much faster than we are. And it makes me a little bit sad, but it is true. A lot of us millennials are in our 30s and 40s, and we look a lot younger than Gen Zs that are just 20s, in their 20s, because life is horrible right now. I mean, they entered the workplace in the middle of COVID for some of them. What? I swear, I think we're the last generation that was able to actually live off of a living wage. We can go into all of that, but I just think Gen Zs just have a really, really rough time. The stress of life right now is I can't imagine coming of age with all of this going on at the same time. It's too much. It's just too much. So, but millennials, I think what protects us is what protects Scorpio is that Scorpio is very sensitive in the sense that they care very deeply. However, they have this protective measure around them because of the stability of Pluto, because Pluto stays in this sign for a very long time. There's not a lot of emotional volatility. All the volatility is experienced inwardly, not outwardly like Cancer, and Scorpio is also very tough. They're both sensitive, yes, but also very tough, very tenacious, very determined. Scorpio can take a punch and keep moving forward. Scorpio can go through hell and high waters to get their goals met. Kind of like millennials. Like people look at us and we look younger than Gen Z, but we've gone through the worst. It's kind of like that same karmic effect, because karmics can handle a lot. They take a lot of pressure from the universe and they always come out better because of it. Okay. So back to Pluto. The 15-year cycle I'm referencing is that Pluto was in Capricorn since the election of Barack Obama. For those of you who need some contextual historical perspective, remember what life was like when Barack Obama was first elected? Those of you millennials who lived through all of that, do you remember what life was like? Do you remember? For a lot of people, when Barack Obama was elected, there was like an energy in the air. Like there was an energy in the air of feeling like something new was coming, something new was happening, and things were going to get better. Because remember, we're just coming out of a huge financial crisis, right? Like we weren't even out of it yet. He got us out of it. But before he got us out of it, there was this tension in the air economically. There was war in the Middle East that seemed to never end. And his election, for many of us, felt like a turning point. Whether we fiercely voted for him or did not, it felt like something new was coming, something hopefully good, something exciting. I mean, the fact that he got the nominations of states that had never voted blue before, to me, was a loud indicator that we were all in a state of desperation, seeking something fresh, right? That kind of zest, that kind of energy, that kind of newness, that kind of quest for something new is what we felt back then. Because Pluto in Capricorn was entering this generation when he was elected. That was the beginning of that transformation. When Pluto is in a specific zodiac sign, the zodiac signs who share the same quality as that sign are going to be deeply impacted. And if you notice, Barack Obama being the very first Black president that America had ever seen was kind of like breaking the mold, which is exactly what both Capricorn and Aquarius were sent to Earth to do, to reestablish structure, to redefine what we consider to be how we do government, how we do power, which is really what it's about. How do we do structure? How do we do power? How do we do leadership? That's what Capricorn is about. So him being the first Black president at the beginning of Pluto and Capricorn was breaking that mold, introducing a new version of leadership. And if you look back, for those of you who are old enough, you may remember that Barack Obama was the first president who had been elected by the United States who did not come from the legacy background that other presidents came from. Okay? And I'm not talking about the fact that he went to Harvard. I'm talking about the fact that he was raised by a single mom. I'm talking about the fact that he was subsequently raised by his grandparents in some parts of his life. I'm talking about the fact that he lived in Indonesia in some parts of his life. The fact that his father was from Kenya. The fact that he ended up on the south side of Chicago somehow after leaving Harvard because he didn't want to go for the big corporate gig that was going to make him a lot of money, even though he was obviously smart enough
to have been able to get that job and make all of that money and stuff his pockets with all of the greed in the world that you can amass. And he was going to be very happy and live stress-free, right? But he had this fantasy in his head that what the American people needed was a break in this kind of pattern that we've had of electing people who were more or less the same, because they came from this similar kind of pristine background, that people that were bred to be into this role. And he came out of left field for everyone. And it was so shocking when the first primary, states that were mostly vehemently Republicans voted for him. All of America kind of took a breath, like, whoa, what is happening? Something huge was happening. Another example of Capricorn energy is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. By the way, he's a Capricorn sun, for those of you who don't know. Just to illustrate what Capricorn brings along with it, he redefined what leadership means. He redefined what our government looks like. Even though he's long gone into another reality, the effects of the civil rights movement are still felt today. There isn't a minority group that's currently living in America who has not benefited from him being sacrificed for pushing this agenda of unity, of love, of peace, and of justice. The Civil Rights Act was able to be reformulated into various versions to legally give rights to women of all colors, people that are not Black, that are foreigners that come from other countries, people that were not born here, to immigrants. There isn't an immigrant in the United States of America who has not benefited from the civil rights movement. Doesn't exist. There isn't a gay person who has not benefited from the civil rights movement. There isn't a person with a disability who has not benefited from the civil rights movement. There isn't a minority person of any status whatsoever, religion, culture, race, language. There isn't a human being in America who has not benefited from the civil rights movement because of MLK. And MLK, much like Barack Obama, felt a calling upon his life to rebalance the power in this country. Capricorn is about power. Capricorn is about structure. Capricorn is about leadership. Capricorn is about ethics. Capricorn is about doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. So many people were working, vehemently against Barack, trying to pin him as this villain, this villain mastermind that was really a Muslim and that was coming to America, and he was going to take all of the American secrets and sell it to the Middle East. You remember all that narrative. Those of you that are old enough remember all these shenanigans that we survived. I'm sure if there was dirt to be found on this man with regards to any of these allegations, we would have found them by now, right? None of it was true. Same thing with MLK. Do you know at some point he was arrested for advocating for Black people being treated the same way as white people? He was literally in jail for advocating for something that all of us now go, well, duh, of course. Everybody deserves to be treated decently. Now we're at a state in our evolution where we don't argue these things, where there's no debating, there's no confusion. We may still have a lot of healing that all of us cumulatively need to do around the history that this brought about and how it shows up in subtle ways in the way that we relate to one another and treat one another. But fundamentally, on a psychological level, most of us agree that, yeah, this is not right. This is not right. Humans shouldn't treat each other that way, right? So I say that to say Capricorn is a very threatening energy in astrology because Capricorn is very powerful, very intense. And unlike a lot of the other zodiac signs who want power, Capricorn is the only one who actually wants it for the right reasons. Capricorn wants it for spiritual reasons. Now, that kind of a person is a very scary person because a lot of the other guys, you can buy them. You say, hey, what's your price? I can get you to compromise your morals and your values. What's your price? Just tell me. What is it going to cost you? What do you want? What do you want? Tell me what it is that you want. I'll write you a check so you can stop talking about this unification of Black and white people. Right? Capricorn can never be bought with a price because they're ethical. They stand on business. If business was on the ground, Capricorn would be dunking on it with their elbow. Capricorn is the original standing on business zodiac sign. And people hate them for it. Because typically the people who want power don't want it for the right reasons.
How are you feeling? Are you enjoying the content so far? If so, I've got more great content for you. My main YouTube channel is called Intuitive Healing. There, I teach general information about astrology. If you wish to use the secrets embedded in your astrology natal chart to manifest the life of your dream, you want to follow my Astrology Weekly podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify. I produce weekly episodes. It also has a corresponding YouTube channel called Astrology Weekly Podcast that you can follow, and make sure to turn on the notification bell. If you want some hands-on support with manifestation, you can join my manifestation group on Patreon. It is a free group, however, some of the posts are only for paid members. If you wish to incorporate healing crystals into your manifestation process, you can go to styledunder.com to shop your favorite sustainable fashion accessories and healing crystals. And lastly, remember to follow us on social media at Intuitive Healing on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Threads. And on Facebook, we are at Styled Under. So stop by, subscribe, follow, like, comment, share, and be social. Thanks for watching.
Typically the people that are power hungry, that want to be seen, that want to be celebrated, that want to be appreciated, typically these people want it for nefarious reasons. And that's what people assumed about Barack. That man was in office twice, both terms, won them legally twice without having to do any deals with any foreign countries to get any elections won in his own merit twice, with that kind of ratchet history that people are sticking their nose up at. There's no recorded history of him having done anything that they alleged that he might have done because he was a Muslim that wasn't born in America. None of that was proven to be true. In the same way, MLK was vilified for wanting the unification of Americans. They threw him in jail because he was a rebel. Well, he just knew spiritually that was wrong, and he wanted it fixed. So Capricorn energy is intense. It's intense because it can be bought. It's strong. It's fearless. It's determined. It doesn't quit until it gets exactly what it wants. And what it wants is generally what God wants. Because Capricorn does not actually want to be a leader. Unlike the other, there are 4 cardinal signs in astrology, by the way. All of them are leaders, those of you who don't know what I'm referencing. Aries is the first leader of the zodiac. Cancer is the second leader of the zodiac. Libra is the third, and Capricorn is the last. Spiritually, when we go down the line, zodiac signs get older. The older folks, they don't want to lead. The 4 oldest, that would be Pisces, Aquarius, Sagittarius, and of course Capricorn. Capricorn and Sagittarius. These 4 don't want to be leaders. They're old. They don't have time to be bothered with these problems, these earthly problems. They're tired. They're sick of it all, to be honest. Because you have to realize when you get to be a Pisces, you've lived all these lives. All of us start off at Aries and die as Pisces spiritually. And we keep being reborn until we've perfected the art of love, the art of loving. Capricorn does not want to be a leader. Capricorn is tired. Capricorn is annoyed. Capricorn is easily frustrated with humans and nonsensical things. That's the key thing. Capricorn is heavy on things that add value. If it's not valuable, if it's nonsensical, if it's a waste of my time, it's a waste of my energy, it's a waste of my money, it's a waste of my resources, it's a waste of my anything that is wasteful, anything that is a waste of anything that takes time and energy away from me, Capricorn abhors it, detests it with a passion. Because they will much rather be left alone in their own corner of the world doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because unlike the others, they are aware of karma. They are aware that God is real, and they are aware that at some point they're going to die. They don't know when, but they know it's coming. So they live their life every day knowing they're dying. That's why they're so intense. And that's why they're a stickler for doing the right thing. And that's why they're so serious. And that's why a lot of people don't like them, because they're kind of like a wet blanket. They're not here for the thrill. You can't entice them because they have a strong moral compass. Unlike the others, Capricorn stands on business. They're going to stand on business no matter what. Because who's above God? Unless you're above God, I don't see what you have to offer me that God cannot give me. What do you have? What do you have? You have $1 million? God gave it to you. God got more. What do you have? What do you have that God doesn't have? Jewels from the earth? Did you make the earth? What else you got? You don't even control your own mortality. You could go to bed and not wake up. Why would I betray me to follow you when you could literally die tomorrow? Then I will have to look at myself in the mirror after you're dead. Capricorn is the father of karma in astrology. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is the planet of karma. And since 2008 to now, a lot of karma has been dealt out. Now, let's bring that back. Earlier, I mentioned that the reason why Barack was elected under Pluto and Capricorn is because he was here to shake up how we do leadership. Have you seen all the ugliness that has come out of leadership since 2008 to now? Let's take a minute and reflect on that. What happened after Barack was elected? Who got elected? Come on. This is a call and response. Let's have a conversation. Let's get into it. What happened in American government, American politics, after Barack Obama served his 2 terms and he went home? Trump got elected. What happened during Trump's term? What came out? What came out in the wash during that segment of life, that segment of our history? What did we learn? What did we learn as a collective, as a family? What did we figure out about ourselves? Are you still there, Morgan? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we learned, didn't we? When Barack packed his bags and went home, what we realized is that all the issues that all of us were kind of like pretending were cured and fixed, and maybe we weren't pretending, maybe we wanted them to be. Maybe we wanted to feel better about who we were. Maybe we were enjoying. Scorpio 56 says we were not shiny bacon on the hill. Yes, maybe we were enjoying that for a minute. Maybe we just wanted some relief from all this pain that we knew was there. Maybe we just wanted the fantasy of living in this post-racial world where what Barack was telling us was really who we were. Barack was calling us to our higher selves. By the way, Barack Obama is an Aquarius rising. And we'll get to that later when we talk about Pluto and Aquarius. That's Aquarius energy. Aquarius is here to call you to your higher self. Aquarius is a light bearer in astrology. Aquarius brings information to the world that say, I know this is how you are, and I know this is how you operate. And let me tell you, that level is a very low vibrational level. I think you can raise that bar a little bit and be more loving and be more hopeful and be more kind towards each other. And what you're going to find is that life is going to be a lot more enjoyable for all of you. And we believed him. We believed him. In fact, the night he was elected, I actually lived in New York City at the time. And I remember cabs driving down the street in New York City. I remember watching, the election night at a comedy club, and cabs were just honking. New Yorkers were hugging each other and crying. Any New Yorkers on this live? New Yorkers don't hug. New Yorkers don't hug each other. New Yorkers certainly do not cry. In fact, when you're on the subway, you put your earbuds in and you avoid eye contact because you don't want anybody saying hello to you, and you don't want to say hello to anybody. That's the normal code of conduct when you live in New York City. It's not mean, it's called self-protection. Okay? And you can always tell who the tourists are in New York because they're trying to maintain eye contact with you. They're like, hi, how's it going? I'm visiting from Iowa. You're like, girl, this is not how we do it over here. You need to look away, okay? Scorpio 56 says, what was hidden came to light, necessary if we are to heal what has been broken since our founding. Exactly. So Aquarius is here to show you who you can be. There's a fantasy element to Aquarius. And in Aquarius' desire to show you who that you can be, they often overlook who you are. They don't get hyperfixated on who you are out of a desire to leave room to create a new reality where you could be better, greater, more thoughtful, more kind, more generous than who you are. It's really out of love. It's out of pure love. I love you so much that I'm going to pretend that you're not vibrating here. And I'm going to put you here. And I'm going to set my expectation here. So that I know, because I know that you're better than this. That you can be better than this. That you can do better than this. So Aquarius will project things onto you that are not there for the sake of aiding you on their quest to allow you to be a better human than what you are. So Michelle says, my Aquarius has always told me that. Yes, is what Jennifer said. Michelle said, this is exactly how my Aquarius is. Michelle said, that is so true. Jennifer said, yes. So that is Aquarius. So Barack, as an Aquarius rising, sold us this dream. And some of us believed in it, but didn't realize we had to actually do the work. And we had to work to become those people. Because this country is this way because we are this way. It's not a demon out there that's making us this way. We are this way. We're choosing to be this way. Every day that we wake up, we choose the kind of humans we're going to be. And we are making choices that are harmful to one another. These are our choices. So if we want to be better, we have to do better. That's where the work part of manifestation comes in. Barack being our president from 2008 to now, and that happening during Pluto and Capricorn, was to ready us for Pluto and Aquarius. Because Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is also the ruler of Aquarius. So Barack, having his Aquarius rising, being a ruler during Pluto and Capricorn, was right on the money. Another thing that came out in the wash wasn't just the ugliness here in this country that all of us were in denial about or didn't want to face or, whatever. When Trump came about, he exposed all of that, and all of us had to kind of take that bitter pill. I know so many people who are no longer who no longer have good relationships with some of their family members because of the ugliness that came out of that period for them. Any of you can relate to this? Michelle said Aquarius gets annoyed at you for not being your best self. Absolutely. Aquarius is very impatient with people vibing low because Aquarius doesn't understand why you would want to operate here when you could be here. Because this is closer to God. This gives you blessings. This gives you manifestations. Why would you want to slum it when you could actually rise higher and float and get all the good things that you want? Because all the good things come from up here. And this is, by the way, why Capricorn can't be bought, because I know God has got everything. So whatever it is I need, I'm going to get if I go to my creator. But there's nothing a demon can give me that God cannot give me. So why would I sell myself short? So those two are very big on ethics because of Saturn. And because they're karma bound. When you're ruled by the planet of karma, you learn from a young age that actions have consequences. A lot of people are 60, 70 and still don't know that. They do horrible things to others and they get upset when others speak to other people about the horrible things they've done. They don't get upset that they're doing horrible things, and they don't get upset that the horrible things are poorly affecting other people. They don't care about that. They only care that people are seeing them for who they are. And some of them even get mad when you try to hold them accountable for the horrible things they've done. Like, how dare you? How dare you ask me? How dare you ask me to take responsibility for doing something bad? How dare you? How dare you ask me to have to stand? How dare you ask me to have to stand in the ugliness of my actions? How dare you? How dare you challenge me on this?
Go ahead and shed away what no longer serves us. That's people, places, and situations that keep us stuck in old cycles. It's time to cut cords. It's time to end things. It's time to disappear. It's time to withdraw. It's time to let go. And it's time to burn it all down to the ground. Remember, this whole experiment with life is a matter of recycling energy. In order for something new to be born, we have to destroy something. This is our opportunity to learn what needs to be destroyed. That's the question of the day. That's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Astrology Weekly podcast. Head over to our YouTube channel at Astrology Weekly and subscribe. You can join our private manifestation group on Patreon at Intuitive Healing. You may also purchase a confidential astrology reading on Patreon if you would like to have more intimate time with me. I provide individual as well as relationship compatibility readings. I'll catch up with you in 2 weeks for another podcast.